reason you can't stop thinking about your childhood. You don't plan to think about it, but it shows up anyway. A small memory from years ago, a classroom, a look someone gave you, a sentence you still hear in your head. And suddenly you're not just remembering. You're analyzing, replaying, rewriting. Why does your mind keep going back there? Why does your brain return to childhood like it's unfinished business? And the strange part is, it's usually not the biggest moments. It's the quiet ones, the ones that seem small. But they're not random. Your brain has a reason, and understanding that reason changes how you see yourself. It often starts in ordinary moments. You're washing dishes, walking alone, scrolling late at night. Then a memory appears. Something embarrassing, something confusing, something unfair. And your mind starts building a story around it. Maybe you think, was that the moment I became this way? Did that change me? Did they mean what I think they meant? This is more than nostalgia. It's something psychologists call identity reconstruction. Your brain constantly updates the story of who you are, not once in life, but over and over again. And childhood memories become the raw material, because that's when your personality, beliefs, and emotional patterns were first forming. During childhood, your brain was building its first mental map of the world. Who is safe? Who is unpredictable? Whether you are valued or invisible. And now, as an adult, your brain occasionally reopens those files. Not because it wants to torture you, but because it's still trying to make sense of them. And here's the unsettling part. Some of those files were never finished. It might feel like something is wrong with you, like you're stuck in the past, like other people moved on, but your brain didn't. But psychologically, this pattern is actually an adaptation. Your brain evolved to revisit important emotional memories. Not the happiest ones. Not always the worst ones either. But the ones that shaped your expectations about life. Think about it like this. Your brain is not replaying the past. It's checking whether the old rules still apply. For example, if you were criticized a lot as a child, your brain may still be scanning for rejection today. If you had to prove yourself early, your mind might still replay moments where you felt not enough. This is called predictive processing in cognitive science. Your brain constantly predicts the future using the past, and childhood holds the earliest data. So when something in your adult life feels uncertain, your mind goes back there, looking for clues. But here's the deeper question your brain is asking, without telling you. Are these old conclusions still true? We'll come back to that, because the answer matters more than you think. To understand why childhood memories keep resurfacing, we need to look at how memory actually works. Most people think memory is like a video recording, stored somewhere in the brain. But neuroscience shows something different. Memory is closer to reconstruction than storage. Each time you recall a memory, your brain rebuilds it. And when it rebuilds it, something interesting happens. It becomes temporarily flexible again. Psychologists call this memory reconsolidation. Here's a simple mental model. Imagine your mind as a library. Childhood experiences are some of the oldest books, but many of those books were written when you had very little information about the world. So the conclusions inside them can be incomplete. Now imagine that every time you remember something, you briefly open the book, and while it's open, you can actually rewrite parts of it. That's why the brain revisits childhood. It's trying to update the story. There's another system involved too, the default mode network. This is the brain network active when you're not focused on tasks, when you're daydreaming, reflecting, thinking about yourself. And this network loves autobiographical memory, especially memories tied to identity. So when life slows down, quiet evenings, long walks, empty moments, your brain naturally drifts toward the past, not randomly, but toward memories that still carry emotional energy. The brain is essentially asking, is this still who we are? And if it hasn't found the answer yet, it keeps returning. So how do you work with this instead of feeling trapped by it? Not by forcing the past away, but by using how the brain actually processes memory. Here are 4 principles grounded in psychology. Step 1. Name the pattern. What to do when a childhood memory appears. Don't immediately analyze the event. Instead, ask, what belief about myself came from this moment? Why this works in the brain. This activates metacognition, the ability to think about your thinking. When you identify beliefs rather than just memories, the brain shifts from emotional replay to cognitive processing. Example, instead of replaying a teacher embarrassing you, you might notice, "This is where I learned that mistakes are dangerous." That changes everything, because beliefs can evolve. Memories alone feel fixed. Step 2, separate the child from the adult. What to do? When recalling the memory, imagine the younger version of you standing in the scene. Then imagine your present self observing it. Why this works in the brain. This uses self-distancing, a technique studied in behavioral psychology. It reduces emotional intensity while allowing reflection. The brain processes the event with more regulation from the prefrontal cortex. Example, you remember being ignored at a family gathering. Instead of reliving it, you observe that younger you trying to be noticed. Something shifts. Compassion appears where judgment used to be. Step 3, look for the rule your brain created. What to do? Every recurring childhood memory usually created a hidden rule. Find it. It might sound like, I have to be perfect. People leave. I shouldn't speak too much. Why this works in the brain. These rules are part of schema theory, mental frameworks the brain uses to interpret life. Schemas formed early are powerful because they shaped years of behavior. But once you see them clearly, the brain can update them. Example, you realize many memories revolve around being misunderstood. The rule becomes clear. I need to explain myself constantly. Now, the pattern makes sense. Step 4, give the brain new evidence. What to do? Not affirmations. Evidence. Small real-life experiences that contradict the old rule. Why this works in the brain. The brain updates beliefs through prediction error. When reality doesn't match the old expectation, neural pathways begin to adjust. Example, if your childhood taught you people don't listen, notice moments when someone actually does, even small ones. Your brain logs those as new data. Over time, the old rule weakens, not because you force positivity, but because the evidence changed. And this is the part most people miss. Your brain isn't obsessed with the past. It's trying to finish an unfinished model of the world. So here's a simple way to understand everything we talked about. Think of your mind as a map maker. Childhood was when the first map of reality was drawn, but it was drawn in low resolution. Limited information, strong emotions, quick conclusions. Now, as an adult, your brain occasionally revisits those locations on the map, not to trap you there, but to redraw them with better accuracy. Each memory that resurfaces is a place on the map asking, is this still true? And when you notice the belief behind the memory, when you observe it instead of reliving it, when you give the brain new evidence, you're updating the map. Quietly, gradually, but deeply. So maybe the real reason you keep thinking about your childhood is not because you're stuck there. It's because your mind is still learning from it, still refining who you are, still adjusting the story you once had to tell yourself just to survive. And one day, you might notice something subtle. The memories still exist, but they don't pull you in the same way, because the brain finally understood them, not as definitions of you, but as early drafts. And maybe that's the quiet truth most people never hear. Your past doesn't stop influencing you when you forget it. It changes when you finally understand it.